replacement fund.
I believe we increased that tree from 50 to 400.
That ordinance has not been passed. We're talking about it tonight still.
Try. All right.
Nice try.
Do you want to hold off?
Mr. Azzalina, if I'm not mistaken, presented this at a recent planning board.
He did.
He did.
All right. All right. Thank you, Michael.
So I'm going to ask for a motion for resolution 25-287. Oh, want to take a roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Holman,
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to resolution 25-288, authorizing entry into the mutual general release and stipulation of settlement with Matt's Construction Services LLC. Any motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Yeah, so I know you went into closed session last week, and I'm assuming this is the result of those discussions?
Yes, I was directed to enter into this agreement, which results in the dismissal of the complaint by the construction company against the township for contribution of an unpaid construction bill.
Once this is approved, can it be discussed now in public? Or,
Do you want to,
If you would like to discuss it, I would suggest we do that in closed.
so would you mind suspending the rules, gentlemen, to bring that back in closed? If you want to discuss it, Mike will discuss it in closed. If you want to do so.
well, so are you comfortable with the
I am
discussion?
comfortable with it, yes.
Mr. Sears?
Yes.
Okay. I'll follow up, but no need.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Holman,
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to resolution number 25-290, authorize tax collector to cancel current tax liability and all future property tax bills. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
This is 290?
290, yep.
So I guess my question is, do they have any current tax liabilities?
Yes, this is the, relating to the purchase of 450 Pascack. And when we closed on it, it's obviously we closed before tonight. So the tax liability keeps running until,
So, but this is for current period.
Yes.
Are there prior period?
no, we collected everything current as to closing and credited the township for anything. We made those adjustments as of closing date and anything that continued to run before tonight when the township owns the property is being canceled because,
Okay.
yeah,
Understood, thank you.
got it.
Roll, please.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Holman,
Yes.
Okay. Mark, 291, you want pulled for future discussion sometime else? You want to just discuss it?
Oh, it'll be quick. Just before you vote on it, I want to make sure the council's fully informed as to what they're voting
Okay,
on.
let me just open it up for discussion. So, resolution number 25-291, authorize purchase of automatic license plate readers and video cameras from GTBM Inc. in the amount not to exceed $98,527.10.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Before I go into that, I just wanted to let the council know Mr. Ullman's question. I was able to communicate with the captain of the first aid squad, and they were not on duty Sunday at that time. Bergen County was covering that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So if you remember back during the capital approval process, this project was approved for $100,000. It is coming in slightly under. What I wanted council to be fully aware of before we do this project, because it wasn't really discussed during the capital, is that I was able to determine that there's going to be an approximate reoccurring yearly fee to have this project. So what will have to be reoccurring is the monthly SIM cards, right? So every location where one of these ALPRs is going to need a SIM card. We haven't gotten the price yet, but it could range anywhere from $20 to maybe up to $50 times 3. So the worst case scenario is it could be up to $150 a month for the SIM cards, which would be $1,800. And then the software, the Vigilante software that is at each location for each camera totals up to just under $7,000. So the software is included in the first year package of this project. So we wouldn't, let's say this gets installed by November 1st, and the worst case scenario is it's $150 per month. I have in the budget this year where I can sneak in and find $300 for the SIM cards. Starting in January, again, worst case scenario would be $150 a month for the internet at those locations. And then about the same time next year, November, we're going to get a bill to renew that software, those programs, which is just under $7,000. So I just wanted the council to know that as I'm doing this, we're going to have to request an addition to next year's budget to account for this reoccurring bills.
Okay, so was that relayed to you when you first looked at the system?
It definitely wasn't talked about with council.
It was relayed to you and the police?
I'm sorry?
It was relayed to you and the police?
It wasn't, because when I was going through the proposals, and because I wanted to make sure, okay, is there electrical work, who's going to pay for that? We found out the county does, there's no expense. Again, just being a little bit familiar with this, we wanted to make sure there wasn't. So that's when I got a hold of the vendor the other day and discussing it with the chief and the captain. They were unaware that there was going to be a yearly software renewal. We were kind of certain there was going to be the internet, but it was not identified until I clarified it with the contractor the other day. So again, I don't want you to blindly vote yes. I mean, we hope that you still do, because it's a very valuable device. But we want you to know it's going to come with,
So it's about a $10,000 yearly.
about $8,800. It sounds better than 10,000.
Okay, so I round up, you round it down, so call 9.
Okay.
No other recurring expenses that we know of, right? These are for a
No,
SIM
just be the
card?
SIM cards, and it would be for the Vigilant software / program that this system uses to operate. And it's for the year, like I said, so that 98,000 and change is going to cover this first year.
All right,
And then, again, come next October, November, we're going to get a bill.
is there, and I don't know if you know this, Mark, is there let's say the camera breaks or there's an issue with repair, is that part of
There is a warranty.
there's a warranty, and how long is that warranty for?
It's 3 years.
3 years.
So I was, based on the discussions that we had at the budget meetings, I was under the assumption that there was a one-time fee and that this tied into a larger county network and that we were leveraging the county network. I guess, for lack of a better term, from my understanding, to run these cameras. So now, in addition to the 98, and the 98 will get us to having 3 up and running cameras,
Locations. There's more cameras than that. It's just location.
locations.
Yeah, so that cost is per camera. Again, I don't have it in front of me, the proposal, but yeah, 3 locations. And there's a car device as well. But that doesn't need a SIM card because it already has one because of the police in-car computer system.
So you mentioned SIM card. So these go work on a wireless network?
Yeah.
So would they be impacted by a power outage? Or the battery backups on them?
I didn't know that, actually. I don't know.
I mean,
Where do the SIM cards go into? To the cameras? Or is there a base station that you put the SIM cards into?
I don't,
Does that would
We know that
require
we're gonna
a
extend the
bucket truck
device.
to pull the SIM cards in?
well, it's gonna, they'll install it. Speaking with the contractor, everybody works very well together. Whether it's the county because of the lights, the prosecutor's office because of the program, and the vendor. And again, we haven't solicited Verizon yet for these SIM cards. We're hoping for, the fact that we do business with them, we can get a reduced price. We haven't tried those negotiations yet. But telling council, I want to go in thinking it could be the worst price. So that's what, the worst case
I
scenario.
gotta agree with Mike, because I was under the impression that this would be a joint venture with the county.
Well, it is, they
the
host the program.
interface,
They host the program.
but
But we would have to, I think they host the information might be a better way of explaining that. They host the information. But it's our responsibility as the ones purchasing it to keep up, the vigilant program.
and how long is our contract for the Vigilant program?
Well, with the purchase, we get 1 year of the software.
And then the 7,000, the estimate of 7,000, is that guaranteed for a year or is that guaranteed, is 20 years? I mean, because we know that 7,000 in year one might be 7,500 in year two and 8,000 in year three.
Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't specifically ask that. I just, he told me this is what the price would be next year, but I didn't specifically ask, can you guarantee? It's a good question. I didn't ask that.
Well,
You want to pull it and get more answers, or? I mean, I thought this was, one time buying the cameras and the software so we can tie into the county. I didn't realize there was more expense. There's always more expense. So, I mean, apparently we need it. So what do you say, Tom? What do you want to do? Hold off for more answers?
I agree with you, we need it, because I'm just thinking about the amount of growth that's going to be coming through this town with the building all around us. We got exit to 17, we got exit to the Parkway, and we are, I hate to say a prime target, but we do need it. I did not know about the yearly cost, the fees, but I will venture to say I would go with it.
Mr. Holman?
I'd go with it.
Okay, so, it's unfortunately, it's a cost of doing business. I was under the impression that, we buy the cameras and the county would do pretty much everything else. I think that was the impression from everyone, but apparently, that is not. Mark, if you can get maybe a locked-in price for the next 2 or 3 years on these software updates and the SIM cards, I think the council would greatly appreciate that.
You got
Because as Mr. Ullman says, things tend to go up incrementally. One day the price of eggs is $1, then it's $1.50, then $3, and $10. So I appreciate it. So, roll call, please.
Councilman Cassia,
Yes.
Councilman Steers,
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Okay. So
If I can just express thank you from behalf of the administration and the police department. And I wish I could have had that information back then. Luckily, at least I was able to get it to you tonight.
Okay, it's okay, Mark. I understand how, sometimes you don't think of those things until after the
Yeah,
fact, and
absolutely.
I get it. All right, so motion to go to the conference agenda.
so move.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next meeting of the Township Council will be on Monday, September 8th, 2025, beginning at 7 PM. Sign up for Nixle. Text 07676 to 888-777. Key code is TWP Bergen, add www Township of Bergen, Township of Washington.us. Bella, good morning. Okay, anyone want to take a break?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break and we'll return and go on to the next part of the fun time. We have 4 items for ordinance and legislation. The first one is an amendment to Chapter 465, Trees, and this is a follow-up. And Ms. Bailey, if you can tell us about our updates.
Of course. The council may recall at the last meeting, or maybe Mr. Ullman does not recall at the last meeting, that we went through some suggested changes to the tree ordinance, born in part from suggestions made by our municipal prosecutor in connection with the case that he had recently and having some clarity issues, together with the stated desire of the council to increase some fees relating to tree replacement, and also finally to clean up some blanks, for lack of a better term, that were in the ordinance. And lastly, I made some suggestions myself. So out of those 4 categories, I presented some proposed changes at the last meeting. I was directed to make some changes based on that, and that's what the council has in its packet tonight. Maybe I can go through those changes, or since Mr. Ullman wasn't there, if he'd like to raise anything that is not reflected in the red line section of the ordinance that is in your packet, I can do that as well, whatever's best.
Mike, did you go through it, Mike?
I went through it, and I did listen to the meeting last week, so I heard, the extensive discussion on this.
Okay, great. So on the first page, let's start right there. There's a typo. There's a deletion of the word street. That, I'm not sure how that happened. That was probably a faulty error on my part. So that should not be taken out. Section 1, Article 1 is a new section of the statute that deals with street trees that are in the public right-of-way or on public property. Now, there was a concern raised by the council that they did not want this ordinance that prohibited certain actions of trees that exist in the public right-of-way to anyway water down the duty of the residents to maintain trees that are, adjacent to the public right-of-way or the paved public right-of-way. So I would draw your attention to section 462C, and right there it says nothing contained herein shall be construed to prohibit the above acts by the township. Wait, no, that's not it, sorry. Oh, B, excuse me. In section B, the foregoing regulatory provisions notwithstanding, the maintenance of a street tree shall be the sole responsibility of the owner of the property adjacent to any public right-of-way or easement. So while having added regulation specific to street trees in the public right-of-way, including permits to do anything with it, you can't climb on them, some added protections if the council is interested in those added sections. So that's that.
I just have a question.
Sure.
So I understood the whole discussion on the trees that are planted between the curb line and the property line, for lack of a better term, and that, it has been the township's historical opinion that they are the responsibility of the property owner. I guess my question, when you talk about an easement, to me, that is a much broader, I guess, definition. What would constitute an easement?
Well, it depends upon, it depends, because when you have the adjacent property owner, their property line may or may not go up to the curb line. It may be short of the curb line.
Sure.
And may come in. But the town still has an easement over that private property for right-of-way purposes. for a sidewalk, for this or that.
So when I think of easement, I think of like, possibly like a power line or power easement or
Yeah,
utility easement.
right.
Maybe that's the right term. And if it's a utility easement, are we telling the property owner that if that easement is on your property, you're responsible? And is that, one, is that what we're saying? And two, is that what we mean?
I don't believe that's what we're saying, and in fact, if you read the whole sentence together, I don't know that that would be a reasonable construction of this provision. So if we go back to the beginning, the foregoing regulatory provisions notwithstanding, the maintenance of a street tree shall be the sole responsibility of the owner of the property adjacent to any public right-of-way or easement. So any public right-of-way or easement, however you want to characterize that public right-of-way, whether it's by easement or fee, it's the public right-of-way. It's not a utility. There are many different types of easements,
Sure.
utility, all of that. But I think that this type of easement is limited by that language, public right-of-way or easement, the way it's, the way it's drafted. I mean, it's certainly everything can be clearer. If one person has a question about it, maybe that's cause enough. I don't see that construction that
Okay.
you are attributing, but that doesn't mean anything. That could mean somebody else, the zoning officer may agree with you. I could certainly clarify that.
And do these definitions, the way we're defining it here,
Yeah,
if the tree were to fall over and cause damage, do these definitions carry over to that and put the responsibility on the homeowner?
This definition is solely for the purpose of prohibiting certain conduct as to trees in the township.
Okay.
It is not meant to alter, abdicate responsibility, or do anything else in any other setting.
Okay,
And that's,
okay.
that's
Thank
the caveat that's meant to address.
Thank you.
Where's the next one?
All right, so the next one,
465.
465.3, that looks like a typo. Okay, the definition of person included, again, a clarity point. I believe there was a comment raised that they wanted to be clear that any contractor, including the property owner, could be summoned for violation of this. So we define a person, although it already says any individual resident corporation, we want to make clear that we're not talking about a person or a corporation that owns a piece of property. It also includes any person or entities who contract with or engaged by the property owner can be cited for a violation of this ordinance. So that, I believe, covers that. If anyone has any questions?
That's just expansion of the definition of persons, right?
Well, yes, that's exactly right.
Entities and persons.
For the purpose of bringing those, clearly bringing in those contractors who engage in the contact as well.
456.5.
465.5E, the removal of tree tree. That again, that was an error of mine. It doesn't belong. Sorry about that.
Siobhan, which one is that?
465E, I believe. right?
465E, that's right. Yeah. All right.
Then we're on to, yeah, what is that?
Violation.
Permit 465.6. See, that can be, that's a relocation.
Ms. Bailey, can I just ask a question about 465, 5.1? The registration and and how they register?
460.
Sure. I don't think I made any changes to your
No,
current.
So you mentioned the clerk. I guess my only question is the clerk, is this, for lack of a better term, a strictly administrative checking the box, or are they validating that the insurance is in effect, that the driver's license are not suspended, that whatever else we're doing, the license plates are affixed to the proper vehicle? So are they checking the box for these 8 or 9 items, or are they validating that they are in effect and I don't know, enforceable is the right word, but that they're valid?
If you look at section B, and again, Mr. Ullman, this is in your existing ordinance. I don't believe I made any changes to 5.1, but if you look at subsection B, it says all applications shall be received by the clerk's office and reviewed for completeness. Once complete, the clerk's office shall issue to the applicant a decal for each vehicle and trailer covered.
Sure, but for instance, number 5 above, registrant's insurance declaration, certificate of insurance.
Right.
Anyone can make a copy of the declaration page. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's
Enforce.
in effect. They may not have made a payment. They may have canceled it once they received it. I mean, I had friends in college who would get insurance, get the card, and then cancel, just so they had an insurance card in with them. So,
They were your friends?
yes.
Columbia House.
So, so I just want to make sure I understand what the clerk is doing. And are they ticking a box that they received the insurance, or are they calling like the Division of Insurance in the state? Ms.
I don't know the answer to that.
Ms. Wachowski?
On our application, all those boxes have to be checked and they all have to meet standards. So like for the insurance, we request a current certificate of insurance with us named as additional insured. When it comes to current licenses, driver's licenses, we have caught people saying, oh yeah, my guys are good. And we look at the thing and say, this guy's expired. He is? Yeah. Well,
Okay.
what? So, we do.
Okay.
We're very vigilant in what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them do confirm the license plates and that with the insurance. We make sure we tell them if they don't have the decals affixed, if the police officer comes by and they see it, they can stop the job immediately.
You also get a copy of the ordinance.
Yes, and they get a copy of the ordinance as well.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we? We're at 56.
I'm gonna jump to 465.7 because C is really taken out of, has been just moved up to the above section, and in my view belongs there. It's not really changed. Well, it is actually. Let me let me orient myself, I'm sorry.
We just crossed it out, moved it up, right?
Yep. All right, so then if you look at 465.7, except as otherwise provided in this chapter, the following are the tree replacement requirements. Okay, so we'll go through whatever has been changed.
We're
Or
looking
we
at
need-
fees, I think we
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
changed, and the word tree was just like more trees. And 2, any person removes 1 or more trees.
Well, the capital,
Why is
I
it-
put a capital T because it's a defined term,
Okay.
and we want to always have that
Gotcha.
definition apply.
Okay.
And then
The fee.
per NS means, you have to, 1 or more trees. It's just
Right.
grammatically correct.
Got it.
All right, and I think I saw a small T there at the bottom there, going against my recommendation. All right, so we talked about what these application fees. I think I made a comment here that there's a tree removal permit already in 465.6, which is consistent with your fee ordinance,
Okay.
chapter 212. I'm not really sure what the purpose of the replacement application fee is. But I feel I made it consistent with 100, because in my view, there'd be a permit application fee made, a determination made on various things, whether, you have to replant, you have to replace, and if replace, it has to be this, that, and the other. I'm not really sure what this application fee is for replacement. I don't know, I don't see anywhere in this ordinance requiring a separate application to be filed that would generate this fee. And it was in the old ordinance and it wasn't filled in, and I'm not sure what
Well,
this
unless
is.
it means, you're cutting down a tree and you're putting a different tree in its place. That could be, you're still adding a tree. You're taking down a tree, but you're replacing it with another tree. That might be why that replacement thing is in there. That's the only thing I could think of.
Well, the fee would be the same. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
big it is, right?
Right.
But it's the,
I mean, there's
It's not a
no,
new
there's no
application.
fees to plant trees. We want you to plant as many trees.
Yeah,
as
there's
possible.
no, it's part of the original application
Well.
to remove,
Uh-huh.
the determination of
Okay.
how the the replacement obligation is part of the original tree application. So I don't know what this application.
Could
fee
that
refers
be
to.
the 2-for-1, Mike?
Well, I thought that was more the the criteria, the 1.5.
Right.
I mean, the 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, but to your point, Ms. Bailey, I don't know where the fee for the application occurs. It would be part of the larger planning application or zoning application,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, there are other applications that would generate the tree replacement requirement, but there's no separate application for tree replacement. So what would this fee be? I don't, and perhaps that's why it's had never been filled in, because nobody knows what this means.
I mean, it could be struck from my perspective.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
What do you-
this would go in front of the planning board anyway, right? When they do the trees, Tom? Is that where it goes?
Yeah,
Planning or zoning.
Or
Potentially.
zoning? Okay. So, and they already paid fees to be on those boards, in front of those boards, right? So this would be an additional fee. Again, I don't think it serves a purpose. I would strike it,
yeah.
Ms. Bailey. I would
Yeah, there is
strike the whole
no-
thing. It doesn't make any sense.
There's no tree replacement application
No.
to
Are you
cause
okay
a
with
fee.
that, Mr. Ullman and Mr. Sears? Strike that section?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we agree.
Yes.
Okay, let's strike that, and then that's something we don't have to worry about because it doesn't exist anymore.
All right, the next is a question by me under subsection B of the same
Right.
section.
Should be placed in a fund dedicated to tree plant. That's our tree bank, right, Tom?
Yes.
And that's per tree.
Yes.
We raised it, it used to be a much lower amount, right?
Yeah, we increased it to
I
400.
think it was like 2 something, so that,
Yeah.
But should it be tree removed or per tree to be replanted?
Well, here's the thing, if you're building a house and it's a 2-for-1, and you're
Yeah.
saying, listen, I can only get 5 trees, I'm supposed to plant 10, you have to pay for the other 5 to go into the tree
So
trust
that's
fund.
to be replanted then.
That will be replanted,
So you can't, so
but
you,
not on
are
that
you
property.
Your obligation
you're
on
paying
a
for removal and planting? Two fees?
no,
There should be one fee, right?
No, that's not my question. My question is, let's say on a 2-for-1, you're removing 5 trees, you've got to replace with 10, but you don't have the room to put 10.
Right.
Right,
So
you
you're
gotta pay
putting
for
5 back
And you're
and you're paying
paying
for.
for 5.
Okay, so that would mean that the language should read, pay a fee in the amount of $400 per tree to be replanted,
Okay,
right?
No, that's because
No?
you're not replanting it because you don't have room.
Well, no, you're
Required to, yeah,
paying the 400 per each tree that's been removed. So I think that,
that's right? Okay,
yeah,
all right.
and then this fee goes into the
Bank.
tree fund,
right,
and the green team, I think,
We use it to
Leverage that
plant
farm.
trees in the parks and everything.
So you don't think, for example, if the caliper is, 33 inches or greater, and you're replanting 4 trees per one, right? You think you should still only pay 400
Per tree.
removed? Okay. And you don't have room to do the 4 to 1?
2 to 1.
No?
No, 4 to 1.
No, you're
Right.
down to category
Right.
4. I think,
So you gotta replant 4
right?
for each
But-
one of these.
Yeah, but you don't have room, you now have an obligation to do 4 to 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's still.
But only, let's say only 2 are being removed of this size, right? So your obligation is to either put 8 in, find room for 8, or pay for 2 times 400, when your obligation's 8?
It doesn't make sense.
That's what, I just think if you're getting rid of some big trees there and you have a larger obligation, your
Should be-
financial
Should be
obligation
more.
should be more. That's why I
Yeah.
think the language should be per tree to be replanted.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Mr. Rowland? Yeah. Okay.
So just put remove, and put replaced.
To be replaced
Per tree to be replaced.
per the schedule, right? Per the tree replacement schedule above.
Per the above, yes.
Okay.
Because that would make sense if you did that, because you'd be
Yeah.
losing.
Right.
Yeah.
you'd be out.
Okay. All right, so that's that one.
Okay. Next page.
465, 8.1 is just a little bit of a cleanup. I stated above for clarity.
Exemptions.
Enforcement,
That looks like it's
I think that's it.
Okay.
I have one.
Sure.
On page 9, so it's part of 4659 exemptions, part B. So
B.
be like boy. So
Yeah.
my question is, there is a property in town that is classified as agriculture because,
They have a goat in the front yard or something?
they harvest trees.
Oh, it's a
Harvest
tree.
trees.
Oh, I thought you said agriculture.
Well, I think
That's what it
that's,
is. It's
so
That's what it-
they have a tax exemption.
Yeah, yeah.
So my question is, if they're classified in that manner for tax rolls, if they're exempt, could they come in with, 10 bucket load, 10 bucket trucks and cut every tree down without penalty? Because I don't think we want that.
It says tree farms in active operation.
Well, they are because they get
They got
a,
tax exemption.
Well, like I said,
Well, every year they got to report a WD-4 to the tax office, and they have to tell them how many trees they have removed on a continuous basis. Now, I think it's between $500 and $1,000 that they can sell. So it would be, I would check with Sarah to see if they submitted that form. If they did not, then they lose their tax status.
no, understood, but because they're exempt from this statute,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
can they go in and cut every tree down without penalty?
You know what? Just take B out and then
well, a tree farm, you're gonna make them get a permit for every tree they remove? Or if they're in active operation, isn't that what their business is?
Well,
you would think it'd be their business.
the property in question is the Viviana
Yeah.
property.
Okay.
So they have a farm exemption?
But
Yeah.
are they in active operation?
They have to be,
They
because
gotta-
that's how they get their exemption. So they pay, pennies.
But for tree farming,
Yes.
they have, I don't know what they're, but I guess I'm cynical and
Well,
have seen those tax exemptions very liberally.
You're cynical? I mean, it's costing us tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
that big piece of property up there is a lot of money.
So like, to me, that's, I would like to understand the implication of that.
So I would say Sarah in the tax office would be, first I would check to see if they submitted their WD 40 tax exempt relating to their tree farming. And probably you can find out who they sell it to.
Well, they would need receipts.
Exactly.
They would need receipts.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could just take that out.
Well,
They would lose for every $20 tree they sold, that's $400. That would take them out of business. And then they'd have to pay the tax on it.
Yeah.
So just
They should move it.
I would imagine this is a model ordinance. I'll have to see
So
if,
I'll make a motion to just remove B. Just remove B.
is there anybody else in town that
No,
this might impact? Garden centers or anything? No?
well, they don't, I mean.
No, they're not
do
taking
that.
trees
Yeah,
down.
Take the trees down.
down.
Just remove B.
Siobhan, we did follow the NJDEP model ordinance. I don't know if that specific
Yeah,
verbiage was, but we've revised this ordinance like a lot.
I know. I'm aware of that.
Are you okay with removing B, Mr. Olson?
Look, I think and I don't want to delay this more than it already has been, but
I don't think another 2 weeks is gonna make a difference.
I think it would be important based on their tax classification that they're a farm or an agricultural business, to know if they're exempt, because, they could go in and remove every tree and there's no penalty,
And
And,
you're right, because here's another question that you raised. If the owner sells off the property to a builder, does that builder maintain that tax status? If he
I just said remove it.
sells to another developer to build,
Unless he's selling it, unless he's an active operation
well,
and selling stuff. I mean,
that's a good question, Mr. Allman.
well, theoretically, they can go in and clear cut it, and then when the new person buys the property, there's no trees, nothing they don't have to replant anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
not there.
even if
It's not there.
even if the trees are there and they sell off the property, does that new owner still maintain that tax?
If he maintains the operation.
No, no, it's
If
only
I buy a
under,
farm and I go back and
yeah, but
reform
it's
it.
only under that one ownership.
isn't it the property?
It goes
Is
with
it
the land.
property?
It goes with the land.
It's change of use.
Hmm.
Isn't there a look back once it loses its exemption? Doesn't it look back a year and don't we collect?
Right, if there's a change of use, there's an added assessment, right?
Okay.
That relates to that,
Right.
so the seller has to
Yes.
pay that, yeah.
You know, I think for now, if you just remove it, it protects you, and then we can move forward later on and amend it. Mr. Holmes, remove it, and then, I mean, amendments are easy.
I'm comfortable removing it. I would just be sensitive to Mr. DiCarlo's comment that a lot of this is based on a model.
I understand, yep.
So if we change the model, do we do something?
Yeah, we're not gonna, I don't think we'd be ready to, I would like to have the rest of the council here if we're gonna, pass it, because I don't think 2 weeks is gonna make a difference, so everyone has So again, Daisy have a little bit more input on it. But that's a good point that Mr. Holman brings out. Again, as you go through these things, you see things that, we haven't noticed before.
I know.
So,
Just take a break though.
is there anything else, Sharma, here that we have?
If you don't mind if I chime in real quick, one, waiting 2 weeks definitely isn't going to hurt because what prompted the whole revision was getting consistency with the numbers we're going to charge, like 300, 400 per tray. And then also making it easier for our municipal court to adjudicate this, and there's no current violations out there. So I think you're fine with,
If we put it on?
yeah,
Okay.
and letting us, maybe, me and Siobhan look into that.
Look into it, but I would make a recommendation for now, just to be, to err on the side of, caution, just remove B. Let's look at what would be effective if we remove B and what are the alternatives for B. You okay with that, Mr. Ullman and Mr. Sears?
Yes.
Okay.
Council Vice President, if you don't mind, if I just bring you guys to page 5 real quick.
Where, I'm sorry?
Page 5 under 465-6. And I do apologize for being sarcastic and recommending to glue the tree back together. I guess that was my way of trying to say it, that we do want you to feel that we really looked into this and we feel that the appropriate decision was made to let these trees go. And Councilman Sears, I know trees as a whole are important, but if heritage specifically, perhaps we could put another step in the process, like we talked about during my report, for heritage trees. And if you look at paragraph B, its second sentence, if removal of a tree is being requested under 465-5D, which talks about the diseased trees, the tree removal permit application shall be accompanied by a letter from a licensed arborist verifying that any tree to be removed qualifies under the same section. And this is where, I would lead into what my defense was. If the zoning officer is satisfied with the information in the tree removal permit application and with the letter from the licensed arborist is same as required hereunder, the zoning officer shall direct the building department to issue the tree removal permit upon payment, blah, blah, blah. But then it just goes on to say, if he doesn't, we can solicit the assistance from another entity at the applicant's expense, whether it's a township engineer, Department of Works, licensed arborist, or other professionals. Again, just so we wouldn't bog down the entire system, because there's a lot of trees people want to take down. If definitely heritage trees being taken down because of that disease clause, perhaps maybe we do ask for a separate letter, a separate arborist that's other than the company that wants to take it down. I don't know, I'm just trying to think for you for another step.
That would, it's like having an auditor, like we talk about an auditor and someone who's doing the books, having that second eye that's a little bit more independent. Because if it's, you're creating business that might not otherwise be there. Again, you want to look into that, maybe Sean, put a section there, an independent arborist.
Because Tom, if you read, or Mr. Hughes, if you read C too, it's set up for you to just add a sentence, not to simplify it, but.
Right, and in the event of a heritage, something like that?
Yeah.
That there should be an independent.
Yeah, if it's identified as a
Because
heritage.
there's already the authorization in section C to do,
Let's add that.
okay.
That would be wonderful if
Okay.
we can do that. And I think, that would put another set eyes on it and a little bit more independent.
For just heritage tree, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just heritage tree.
Finding heritage tree.
Mr. Sears, what do you think?
I would go along with that.
You like that?
Yeah,
There's is there a definition? Oh, there's heritage tree.
yeah,
Okay.
heritage trees.
Any of the following: single trunk tree
Height
with a
and
circumference of 38 or more, measured 4 feet. Multi-trunk tree. Okay. All right, I can add that.
Mr. Ullman, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Sears?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so let's see if we can get that for the next meeting and maybe we can wrap this up and vote on it next
Just
time.
one quick thing.
Go ahead.
I don't want to delay. 465-5-1, item number 8. The registration fee is $50. I was approached by one of the code officials saying that that fee is real low for the amount of administrative work that's being done, and they're getting $2,000 a tree. He said we should at least increase that to $100 to cover the cost of the administration and the labels. So I would like to increase that registration fee to $100. And this would cover all of the administration costs at this time.
Which one is that, Tom? 65 what?
It is 465-5-1, item number 8, payment of annual registration fee.
5.1.
They felt, the code officials felt that that was way too low.
This one where you're talking about registration
Yeah.
for tree removal and the application, move it up to 100. What are the reasons, Mr.
Yeah. Mr. Ullman, what do you think? Move the fee from 50 to 100?
Sure, I'm okay with that.
Okay. I'm okay with it too. Let's put that in there. And
Excuse me. Question. Tom, you're referring, Councilman Sears, you're referring to the building department doing the application, tree application?
No, I'm just our registration fee of the vendors.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I wanted
It
to
was,
make
it
sure I.
was way too low. Wasn't covering the cost of administration. Thank you.
465-5.1 is
Right.
what he's talking about.
Right, letter 8, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you want to increase that to 100.
A8, right.
So it'd be $100 for a block of 5 decals, so if they want 10.
Correct.
They'll pay $200.
Yes.
Okay.
it's a deal, 20 bucks. 20 bucks a decal. Not bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to B, under ordinances legislation, amendment of chapter 223, schedules, no stopping standing for Mr. DiCarlo and the mayor.
Yes, thank you. I've seen this quite a few times driving around town, but the complaint actually came in from a couple different residents trying to make turns out of Northgate, especially trying to go northbound. And what's happening is motorists are coming into town southbound on Pascack, and they're pulling into that little section that was up on this. I'm sorry?
The carve out you're talking? The carve out of the street.
You know,
Oh,
the
the
Where it's
carve out, yes, I
wide-
think it's
the wider-
carve. Yes, the
wider-
carve out. And they're stopping there and they're, conducting their business, whether it's on the phone or not. And it's, it's causing a hazard for people trying to turn. So our idea was to come up with no stopping or standing. We went to the county. The county's like, hey, the enforcement and the ordinances is all within your business to do. And then speaking with Siobhan, I didn't realize this, but Pascack Road, I guess, is the complete, the entire length, both directions, right, Siobhan, is no parking.
Right.
Even though it's not posted in some areas.
Right.
But I guess whether it's semantics and, parking versus stopping, standing, again, I can't believe people would get away with that. We would have to add a section of stopping and standing. So Siobhan said, hey, do you want to do the entire length? I wasn't thinking that at first, but it's not a bad idea because where else on Pascack Road is safe to stop and stand? So that's what we're petitioning if that's the right word, we're asking the council to consider, no stopping and standing for the entire length, both north and south, right, Sean, of Pascack Road.
So the 4 county roads that we have,
Mhm.
the other 3 have that?
That's a good question.
Because I had, in front of my office, I have a small carve out and people do stop there.
On Ridge-
So, on Ridgewood Road, so you got Ridgewood Road, Washington, Van Emberg, right, and Pascack. So I don't know what those streets are like, but they should all be the same. If we're doing it for one county road, we should do it for all the county.
But I could tell you, across the street from the firehouse, that's becoming
Where the
a
X's are.
parking spot. Where there's 3 roads.
Yeah.
And then that's been really getting bad because there's now a truck parked there or a car parked there, and you see them parked in there. That's getting even worse now.
That's a good point. I was narrow-sighted with just Pascack, but if you're willing to,
Let's do all the county roads, because they're all well-traveled. and it does cause, issues.
So how would that affect landscapers? You go down Pascack Road now and you see them parked on Pascack Road, no cones are out or whatever,
It would also affect delivery trucks like your Amazon and your
Will they,
UPS.
well, the delivery truck's probably in and out, but these landscapers are there for 45 minutes.
So you can't say stopping and standing for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
You can't do that. It's either going to be all or nothing.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I don't think we can do that, can we? 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the.
So no one's gonna time them that they're there for, we were talking about UPS trucks and Amazon
yeah.
trucks, because they stop and make their deliveries. So,
I mean, you'll even see cars parked half on the sidewalk and half on the road in Pascack, trucks.
well, if they're on the sidewalk, there is an ordinance there
Yeah.
for summonses. Oh, yeah, it's, well,
What if we concentrated just on the cutout areas then, and don't do the entire length? Because if a landscape truck parks and no one's in it and they're mowing the lawn for a half hour, is that considered parked?
Yeah.
Well, then, Siobhan, please correct me, Pascack Road is already prohibited from parking on Pascack Road, right?
Parking, yes. And stopping and standing, you've got prohibitions on Finnerty Place on the south side, entire length, Lafayette Avenue on the south side from Musquat to St. Brook, Culvert at the Westwood Borough boundary line to Brook Ave, and finally on School Street, both sides from Wayne Place to its westerly terminus. That's your current prohibition on stopping and standing. So if you wanted to, for now, right now, the issue was really in that one section, no stopping or standing. Right now, there's no parking on either side. That's a different
Right.
ordinance, different schedule.
So already that landscaping truck shouldn't be doing that.
Shouldn't be
Right,
parking.
Are we gonna prohibit,
Parking prohibited at all times, East Glen, Finnerty, from this to that. Let's see, I think it's
what about Washington,
Washington, both entire length,
Ridgewood,
Ridgewood Road,
Knickermack?
from Ridgewood Boulevard to town,
Vandenberg, I'm thinking.
So this is an enforcement thing
Pascack
that has to
Road,
be
both entire
presented.
length.
so it's already no parking on all county roads?
Looks that way.
I mean, that's not how it's defined. It's specified out. In some spots, it's just one side. In some spots, it's in certain sections of it on a side or both. So it's not necessarily all county roads, period. That's not how the schedule reads.
I think we may be
Fighting too much.
trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist and creating a bigger one.
Yeah.
Although if we wanted to limit trucks on Van Emberg, I fully support it. Just throwing it out there.
Why don't we do, why just limit, I can't vote on it anyway, but if you want to limit it to cutouts,
How do you
carve
define,
outs.
how do you define that?
Well, what I would do, consistent with the rest of this, no stopping or
Street to
standing, is define it.
The street.
First, the street, well, you already have it, the street, Pascack Road. If we're trying to limit it to the
Well, I'm talking
section, that was the
The
problem.
cross street from
Yeah,
the
oh, I
entrance to Northgate to whatever Eli Road, whatever it is, on that stretch.
You want to limit it to this one
That
section.
one section. So from
So
road to
maybe-
road.
Who would I get with to clearly define?
I mean, me or
You-
Lieutenant
We
Glock.
can figure that out and then bring it back here.
Yeah, Vice President, you want to do all the cutouts that we think are
No,
an issue? or
no,
just
right now, that seems to be the issue. There's a
one.
complaint, so do that. And if we get more complaints, then I think we should bring it back.
Okay, so we'll do just that cutout section, and we'll say whatever.
On the
Pascack Road.
southbound side, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, thank you for your consideration.
Okay, no problem. Okay, we have a C, zoning board has concerns about demolition oversights for, what's that, section 53 through 85B, code clarification. So there are, I guess, when they go to do demolition, they are supposed to take down less than 50% of a dwelling before they get board approval. Apparently, that's not being the case lately. They're doing more than that. So they asked us to maybe tighten up the language in the code to deal with that and maybe enforce it more. That's how I'm reading. Anyone reading that differently?
So
I have, go ahead, you can go. I was going to say, there's a lot of information I could
Okay.
present to you.
Sure, that would be great.
If
Mark.
before
Thank
that, if Mr. Ullman wants to.
No, so I think this is like a carry-on of an issue at the planning board where residents are, applying to zoning.
Right.
They're applying to do a less than 50% body of work.
Right.
And they start, and once they start,
It escalates.
they find that there's existing damage, there's this, there's that, and they wind up taking down the whole house or in excess of 50%.
No, you're right. It actually happened multiple times.
Yes, so we've had this year on the planning board, I think at least 4 instances. So we had a meeting earlier or late spring,
April 9th.
and, there was discussion about how to address it. One was coming up with a standard definition of demolition and what it means to to require a demolition permit.
Okay.
And the second was making contractors, engineers, homeowners aware that if you get to a point and you need to go further, you need to stop and you need to come back. And I think I asked at the last zoning board, or planning board, excuse me, of Mayor Calamari, and he indicated that the zoning office and the building office are sort of doing enhanced notification or enhanced advisement of this issue. And that's as far as I know, that's what I know of the issue.
So it was kind of brought to our attention like in early spring, I guess. And we all know the houses. It was Ridgewood, the extension, Cypress. I think there was one more. And again, not putting the blame on anybody, but was it the applicant saying it was under 50% and then all of a sudden it's greater? Like Mr. Ullman said, what is the definition of demolition, right? So it led us to look into these things. So right now, currently as it sits, the demolition ordinance that's in 540 for land use, the only reason it's talked about demolition is to protect the township's canopy. It's 1,000% about trees. So if someone's going to go greater than 50%, it triggers going to the planning board so they can discuss the canopy. So like Mr. Ullman says, there's nothing about demolition or what to do next. So we knew it had to be addressed via ordinance route, but we also need to address it versus with internal policy and procedure. So we had several meetings with the building department and then Grace as the planning and zoning assistant and the recommendations. And, again, whether it sounds silly or not, one of the biggest things we did was consolidate them and get them in the same room. So they hear the discussions, they're dealing with the residents at the same time. We're not sending them up to a different level. All that knowledge is in one room and they have consistent efforts when dealing with these different issues. The other thing was resolution compliance, assuring that the building department is adhering to what's in the resolutions that come from the planning board and the zoning board. The other thing was specifically writing on the demolition permit how much is permitted and what. So instead of it just being demolition permit, it says, again, I'm just guessing because I haven't seen one specifically, but, demo 40%, wall and whatever, I'm making that up. The other thing was to actually put on the zoning permit that's issued, how much demolition is done. The other thing was if there is, and the UCC, the Uniform Construction Official, which is Darius, is very good at his job, and he's very knowledgeable. So is everybody, but in this specific reason, he's responsible for all this because, sometimes it might not have to go to a board, right? So we made sure there's communication between the township engineer, the UCC, and the zoning and planning office with specific notes being put in the file folder, specific trail within emails of how much is supposed to be done. So we're trying to catch this with all these hands in the pot. So we took care of it internally. So then on April 9th, we had, Mr. Ullman, I think everybody and their brother was there. April 9th, we had Paul Azalina as the planning board engineer. Beck Myers, both son and father, as our engineers. John Yakimic as the zoning board. Mr. Getz was there as the chairman of the zoning board. Mr. Sabina was there as the chairman of the planning board. Mr. Ullman was there as, pretty much all of that, right? Planning and council liaison, the mayor, myself, and then numerous building departments with Darius, Mr. Sedekase, Grace. And we got everybody in the room and we discussed this. At no fault of Mr. Getz, he had to leave at the end, so he may not have heard what the plan was with the ordinance. But they definitely heard the internal process we put in place. But towards the end, Mr. Sabino volunteered to lead the charge with getting the demolition ordinance revision, how we wanted it to present it to council. And it was going to be, him, myself, Mr. Azalina, and Mr. Burgess. But as you know, every great plan gets punched in the face, and we had the housing element and the fair share plan that was taking Mr. Burgess's time. And then we got to that point. So most recently, I'd say within the last 2 weeks, Mr. Sabino, Darius as the UCC official, myself, and Ms. Bailey, we brought it into our hands, and Ms. Bailey got us a very nice draft just the other day. So now we're hoping to have a follow-up meeting to review it, see if it satisfies the planning board. Because right now, the zoning board doesn't, respectfully doesn't have anything to do with demolition. It's the planning board. So I think,
So you're working on it?
so we're working on it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. A long-winded way, but I think everyone should know,
Well, you have everyone
The history,
has a
yeah.
hand in it, so everyone knows what's going on, and that needs to happen, because a lot of times it doesn't happen that way, and there's a surprise. We don't like surprises. So, can we
I have a
an-
question for Mr. DeCarlo.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Mark, what is the engineer's responsibility when he gets a job? Shouldn't he go out and look at the project that's going on? He's getting paid to look at a building. So if he goes out and sees a building that's more than 50%, or he sees that they're tearing down more, shouldn't he be the first one to realize what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And
So why don't we have anything holding them responsibility as part of this demolition?
Well, I truly don't think in any of the specific examples that we reviewed, whether it was Ridgewood or Cypress or the other one, that anyone failed to do their job. I think it was a matter of internal procedure and whether the applicant was conveying something inaccurate.
Yes, but he gets paid to look at the job. He gets
Yeah,
withdrawn.
Yes, if it goes to one of those boards, but not everything that involves demolition will go to a board. So
But
on
he
that-
gets to look at the job that's going on. I could throw out 5 examples right from the top that if he showed up, he would have saw more than 50% of the house was down.
So I think there was one, I don't know if it's Cypress or at the end of Beach.
That's
Yeah, Cypress.
Cypress.
That started, I don't even think that went in, I don't believe that went before any board. He started the work and he was going to do internal work, taking it down to the studs, et cetera. It involved the removal or the replacement of some of the exterior. And the way I understood the explanation is they opened everything up and they wanted to do like a 10-foot ceiling versus an 8-foot ceiling. And to start to lift it up and to start to marry all of the framing, became too much. So the contractor took the house down, basically. Never approved. They put a stop work order on it when it became apparent what was going on. But, you know, I like to put accountability, Tom. I completely agree with you. But in the 3 or 4 examples that came before the planning board, I don't think, you know, I think it was an evolution as opposed to someone saying, I'm going to knock my house down and no one catching it.
Right.
But that's just my opinion on the ones that have been before the board this year.
Okay.
Understood.
Well, you know, we're gonna have an ordinance and we're gonna work on it, and hopefully, you know, these things don't happen again, because it did start out with that house, you know, just everything was knocked down except one wall.
Yes.
That was it. So I figured, you know, hey, this is great, put an addition on one wall, and it's, I don't even know if that wall's still there.
It's not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. All right, so we're gonna go on to D, zoning board recommendations for zoning board application fees and escrow requirements. So I assume that, you know, they're looking at some of these requirements, that the fees might be too low. And I think there are also ones that should be different from residential and commercial. The fees should be different, and exactly the scope of the projects. So I don't know, is the administration working on that as well, or?
No, I don't have any, you know, the first time I actually saw that memo was when I was reviewing this packet. I
Okay.
fully support them in most likely raising those fees. I do know, you know, the struggles with Grace trying to get escrow replenished and not being able to pay bills. And then, you know, of course, the engineers aren't going to continue doing work. You know, it's not crazy often, but it's often enough to where I think I definitely would support and recommend to the council to do that. But, you know, I'm not prepared to sit here and say, hey, make it $75 or
Right,
$50.
and I think, you know, I think the point might not be the amount, but the replenishment, because that's an issue.
Yeah.
You know, I think we raised those fees a few times already since I've been on council. But if there's an issue collecting and replenishing those as work goes on, I think that can be a problem. And I was not aware that there was a problem collecting those fees. I'm going to ask Sue, do you see anything with that, with collecting fees in that area?
That's what I was.
I didn't think it was
It's
you.
all joy and grace.
Okay.
Grace, can I ask you a question? Is it the practice of the board not to schedule a hearing unless those replenishments are made? Or is most things usually one hearing or two? So in other words, if you show a depletion, a deficiency in the escrow account for engineering, professional fees, legal and professional, and the application's before the board, is that generally where you see it? And will you not schedule a hearing if those?
No, this isn't Grace.
Wrong one.
Okay.
Siobhan
Never mind.
Cordelia.
That's not.
That's why when you were saying that, I was like,
Okay.
Nope, have you ever seen me come in and say, hey, Grace, hello? And you think I'm crazy? Okay, you're not Grace. Thank
so
you.
next time we'll know.
All right,
So what's the question though, Siobhan?
yes.
What's the
For
question?
the third
The
time.
question is,
I don't even remember.
the question is, when it becomes depleted, the fund, do they continue doing planning board and zoning board meetings, or they don't issue, or they don't continue on with that?
Do they issue a
After-
stop work order when there's no money in that thing?
Well, not stop work
Well,
order,
you know,
but sometimes
something-
The process doesn't go
just
forward.
don't schedule the hearing, don't schedule the second hearing, you know,
It's
that's
not
more
during that
related.
phase that we see the problem. It's during
It's
the
after?
engineer inspection. So
Oh,
engineering bill
inspections, okay,
invoice will come in and, you know, there's $13 left and the bill's $270.
yeah,
You know, again, so that's where I see it.
okay,
You know, everybody's paying their bill to get themselves through the boards.
Okay.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's-
yeah, yeah.
And again, I'm just saying 90% of the time, people are like, oh, you need more money. Sometimes we have disputes on how much it was versus what the
Right.
person thinks it was. But then, you know, a lot of it is them tracking down and getting escrow replenishment. A lot of times it's not a problem, but sometimes it is. Like we were working on the, you know, the Azalina AR. Remember, if you remember, we had bills back to 2006. We're really good now. There's only like 10. But when I get the report from Grace, You know, some of them are disputes, some of them won't pay a replenishment, you know, and
Yeah.
the jobs are well done, you know, and so, you know, that's where the issue is. Again, I don't know if the fees are not high enough, but I do know. Because when we had that issue, speaking with Mr. Poller, he said, we certainly can stop doing work on this, but what would happen is people would have, you know, Mark DeCar would have project A and I stopped replenishing it. But then 2 years down the line, Mark DeCar wants to start project B. And can we not punish them? I can't think of a better word. Like, can we not approve project B? And he would say, no, you know, it's a new project. You know, project A, you're fine on holding back on, but project B, I mean, now we have a new sheriff in
Can it
town,
be a
but
checklist
Yeah.
item, kind of like proof of payment of taxes?
Yeah.
Proof of all paid
Yeah,
town,
right.
outstanding, da, da,
yeah,
da?
well, I mean, like I
And
said,
then the site
new
rental
sheriff's
is-
in town, new attorney, so however, you know, the guidance. But,
I mean, I would agree with Mr. Pollard, probably not under the current.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Councilman Cassio, just to, you know, again, not that you want to talk about it tonight, but there was a second component to that demolition oversight, and that was
Right.
the code clarification, the code ambiguous and interpretation. It was on the demolition one. Again, not that you want to discuss tonight, but it might, you know, they were, I think, looking for counsel to help on that. I don't know, but
All right.
we're also going to have another meeting with Mr. Burgess and Lenny, and I suggest if I'm capable of getting the chairman in a room together, which we probably can, we might be able to hammer out some of these things that there might just be missing information that people don't. know
Okay,
about.
so again, it's, you know, a lot of stuff comes down to research, what other people are
Yeah.
doing. So I'm going to ask Stuart Cornelia, can you look at surrounding towns for us, what their differences in rates with commercial and residential escrow fees and the types that are needed?
I think it's in there, Sue, didn't
I
you?
think it's-
There's a couple
Quite a
towns.
few.
Yeah.
Grace had done that. She put,
Yeah.
there was Oakwood was in there.
Oakwood,
one of them,
Paramus,
Amazon
Cliffside
House.
Park,
Yeah.
New Milford.
Yeah, but I think.
I don't know why those, but that's what's in there.
So do you,
I think she did the photo
Well,
already.
let me ask the current council, are you in the mood, so to speak, for raising those fees? I mean, if the fees, I don't want the fees to become prohibitive for someone doing work in the town, because sometimes that does happen. What really concerns me is non-payment of escrow fees when they run out. That's more my concern, more
Well,
than anything else. And I don't know how that's enforceable, Siobhan, how we can do something with that.
I mean, you look at,
Their feet to the fire with that.
if you look at Paramus, Section F, unpaid fees, established liens, I mean,
I'll leave it.
do we want to, you know, there's an expense to that, though.
There is an expense. Is it worth the expense?
I mean, when you look at our fees compared to surrounding towns, we're clearly on the low end. I mean, really low.
Yes.
So even if we, you know, came up to the low end, it would still,
You know.
it would offer more protection.
I think you're right. I think we should bring them up.
So you want to propose some numbers? Mr. Sears and Mr. Ullman next time that you want to put in there? You know, you want to take an average of the 5 surrounding towns of Washington Township? I would have no problem with that. Do a median.
I think that would be fair.
I'm okay with it. I mean, everything else goes up.
Electric's going up, gotta pay for it.
Pay for it. Well, then you'll get escrow. You want heat or you want escrow account? You tell me. You know, so let's definitely think about
Okay.
the fee that we want to, fees that we want to bring up, since we're on the low end. Because again, this should be a self-funding lines, right? When we send people out to the buildings, right, to look, our inspectors.
Yes.
So, and if it's not self-funded, I mean, Mark, if you
Yes,
can
sir.
recall, last year, we pretty much self-funded the building department, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were okay.
Absolutely.
So,
Profit center.
a profit.
We did have fun.
Okay. All right, so let's see if we can come up with some fees and some enforcement with those fees, Siobhan. And I'll be in touch with you about maybe, putting something together with that enforcement.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll look through the ordinance that you sent to us and see what their enforcement procedures
I
are.
think
Try and
this-
adopt it.
All right, I think the board had suggested these. So does the council want to tell me?
What was their suggestion?
There are different towns. Cliffside Park fees have been provided,
Paramus was
Paramus,
right?
Oakland.
Paramus.
There are various examples, so it's really,
I think
It's up to
Paramus,
you.
I don't want to do Oakland, I don't want to do Cliffside Park, I want to do something that's contiguous to the township of Washington.
okay.
Yeah,
Mike, do
in that
Mike,
same
do you
line.
agree?
I would agree. Cliffside Park is not a good,
No, I think, let's look at Paramus
Right.
closely since it's our, neighboring town and see what they come up with, even though it's a little bit different mix, but at least no one can say you're comparing us to Cliffside Park. We're at least next door in that respect. Okay.
So you want me to prepare an ordinance
Can
modeled
you
after the Paramus?
Model it after
Okay.
Paramus where we can. And I'll leave that up to you where you
Yeah.
see fit. You can always give me a call if there's a question.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. So at least we have an idea and, we can, like I said, the big thing that bothers me is that it's not being replenished in a timely manner. And that's not right. There's a bill due. There's a bill due. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Ullman, for that one?
no.
Tom?
Nope.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. No financials. I'm gonna go down to miscellaneous. This one's mine. I've had 3 or 4 residents call me with complaints about trash pickup. And it was regarding white goods. One resident put out on debris day a microwave oven. And she was told that is not a white good, that is electronics. And then I had another constituent put out a 2-drawer metal filing cabinet. They didn't take that. They told me that's a white good. So I think we need to define what white goods are and are not. So being the clever person I am, I went on my phone, onto 360, put Washington Township. I saw definitions of white goods, but it wasn't our Washington Township. It was Gloucester County's. We don't have any definitions of white goods.
I don't think that's right.
I don't think so either.
No,
I looked.
Oh, it's
Well, you
If I missed
look
it,
at the township.
if I missed it,
Yeah,
I missed
Look
it.
at number 5, 6, and
Definitely
7. No.
But
No.
it's kind of, so, were you done? Or, 'cause I was just trying to guess what the top might have been, so I jot down some notes, so it's when you're done.
So anyway, they were a little upset that the stuff was not taken, and I can understand that. So if we don't have a definition of what white goods are, I think we should have them. Maybe I missed them somewhere in 360, 'cause-
Yeah, I promise we do.
okay?
It even lists specific items.
Okay, so I think we need to put down specific items, because
No, it does.
it does? Okay. Well, if you have those, I'd like to, if someone could send that to my email, I'd appreciate it, the right section. And it wasn't so much the microwave, because I can understand how that could be electronic in nature, because it mostly is. But I think picking up, small filing cabinet, which I could pick up with one hand, didn't beat the requirements of weight. It was empty. That should have been picked up with bulk pickup. I mean, to be honest with you, I threw out a shed. That's heavy.
The rest of
Okay, they picked it up, no problem. So,
So we definitely have it on there. We'll send it to you. I think it's under DPW and
Okay.
it's recycling. And so white goods is obviously metals, and appliances that are majority metal. I'm right?
okay.
Yeah, they do. They have, so it's refrigerators, freezers, washers, dryers, air conditioners, blah, blah, blah.
appliances.
I don't know about the microwave. I mean, I probably wouldn't think that's an electronic, but if someone's putting out metals during debris week, it won't be picked up because the metals go to the recycling center. So debris goes to a different place, so they wouldn't pick it up. So
So the
metal,
filing, the file
filing
cabinet would
cabinet.
be,
that is metal. So
that'd be a white good?
That would be a white good. It's metals.
Okay.
So that is by pickup by schedule. It's
That I understand. That's
So
just.
they
that's
speak
okay.
to Renata, and
Okay.
they get a date, or they can fill out the
Right.
online form for the pickup. And the pickup is the Thursday after
Right.
household debris. And there's so much of it,
Mhm.
we had to add a second date, but the second date isn't always a definitive, like, the next Thursday. It's usually decided by Mr. Waller
Gotcha.
to have an overflow. So they
All right.
probably either put it out at the wrong time. It can be confusing.
Yeah, so, just,
Yeah.
maybe we can just, hone that up a little bit and be a little bit more specific with the white goods themselves. And that's all. Let's see, what do we got? Next one is zoning board, non-participation of a member. And
If
this,
I could summarize what this is about.
you may if you like.
Okay, oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Council
you can
President.
cut me off anytime you want. I think it's probably best.
All right, so there is a zoning board member who has quite an attendance problem. So the zoning board attorney contacted me after he spoke to Chairman Getz, and they wanted to understand the procedure to initiate removal and what our ordinance says. I consulted with them and provided the procedure that